Welcome to bnetTV.com. I'm your host, Nicole Scott. I am joined by Ganesh Sivaraman, who is from S60. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great, thank you.
So you're going to tell me a little bit about what S60 is and how it fits into the whole ecosystem.
Absolutely. S60 is actually the software that runs many of these devices. S60 is actually a licensable software platform by Nokia. We have Nokia, Samsung, and LG and Lenovo as our licensing partners. S60 runs on top of Symbian OS, and we actually have close to 53% of market share worldwide, and we have millions of devices that we have been shipping in the last 6 years. We just recently hit the 100 million milestone in April of this year. So briefly about S60, S60 is a UI layer as well as an application suite. For example, here specifically in the mobile internet world, we are talking about how S60 brings in the desktop class web technologies to mainstream devices, something similar to this, where we can actually cater to the mid-tier devices as well as the high-end devices as well.
So what exactly does that mean for the average consumer?
For the average consumers today, if you look at the way mobile is actually evolving, users are not typically using devices just to make voice calls anymore or for text messaging. They really want more and more functionalities in those devices. So that's why we like to call it converged devices, because these devices are not just making voice calls, they're actually having a 5-megapixel camera that's got a lot more power. For example, this one is an N95 8 gigabytes flash drive that comes in with it. So from a user perspective, they're really trying to bring the desktop experience that they're used to, the MP3 experience, the iPod experience that they're used to, or the YouTube experience that they're used to. So when they're on the move, they want to carry that experience, and they don't want to be kind of compromised. So that's what S60 brings in. S60 brings all these rich experiences without compromise, and we are enabling that by actually embracing, like for example, the WebKit browser that we have. We're bringing desktop class technologies, the great email connectivity that we have, where we link into BlackBerry Connect, Active Sync, so that enterprise users can really be close to their office, even though they're not in the office. So that's what it really means to the end user.
So do you think you can show us exactly what you're talking about?
Absolutely. So I'm actually heading the global marketing for web technology, so I'll kind of give you guys a little bit of a perspective of what you mean by the desktop experience for the end users. All right. So here's an example of WeatherBug. I think we are familiar with WeatherBug as a global provider of weather information, and they're actually very popular here in the US. So what they did is we showed them an opportunity to bring in their applications and services to S60. And this is actually WeatherBug that's completely built on web technologies. And this is a platform that we rolled out April this year called Web Runtime. Web Runtime extends the open source core that we embraced back in 2005, which is based on WebKit. So from an end user perspective, they really don't care whether it is open source or what kind of technology it is. It really is bringing them a very rich experience. So this is like a 3-day forecast. And when I click on it, it gives me a radar view. When I click on that, it also gives me a live cam. So for users who have used this experience on, say, Google gadgets or Windows Vista gadgets or Apple Mac OS X, they're familiar with this experience. Now, S60 is enabling that experience to be mobile. People can carry that experience with them. And what it means for developers like WeatherBug, it means that they are able to use 90% of their asset, because this is the same widget that runs from Mac OS X. They reuse the same thing over here, and with very minimal effort, they're able to actually mobilize their WeatherBug widget from Mac OS X to S60. So this is a win-win from an end user perspective as well as the developer perspective.
Yeah, and one of the reasons I really like WeatherBug is that they partnered with schools, and most of their most of their towers are located on schools, and they go in and they talk about weather and tornadoes and all sorts of other fantastic stuff with the kids. That's why
exactly. Yeah, that's right. So here's another one. This is directly from YouTube.com, and this is streaming live flash video content. This is not any transcoded video. This is a video that comes directly from YouTube.com. So what now S60 again is enabling from an end user perspective, you are now able to literally browse and enjoy the millions and millions of web video based on flash right in your pocket. So there is no need for transcoding. There is no man in the middle that actually decides what the end user sees. The end user decides what they want, when they want, and they just enjoy it.
That's really interesting that the user has so much control over their browsing experience. Now, one of the issues that seems to come up over and over again at either the smartphone show, Mobile Internet World, CTIA, is that the user really suffers because of the browsing experience. What do you see the browsing experience becoming in the next phase?
That's a great question. I think typically the mobile industry is actually, should be taking the responsibility in a way of actually what it means for the end user. So until the 2005 point, I would say that there was no real good browsing experience. So you're absolutely right. So that's why when you look back in history, there are devices that really brought in a very compromised, very, if I may, deformed form of internet. Because if I go and look at yahoo.com from 2001, 2002 on a mobile, it's not the same Yahoo that I would get on a PC or on a Mac. So from an end user perspective, now is a time where they can actually enjoy the experience as it is. But if you move along now in, say, in 2008, 2009 timeframe, is to actually truly take advantage of what the mobile is about. And the mobile is about context aware. Information, it's location aware. It's about knowing where you are and what you want. So to give you an example, let's take an example of WeatherBug, right? So from an end user perspective, it's not, they don't know anything about browsing, right? But even from a developer perspective, it's all about web technology. So here I have a device which actually has a WeatherBug built completely on web technologies. It doesn't know that I am right now here in Heinz Convention Center, right? How cool would it be that it actually, my WeatherBug application knows where I am and shows me the weather specific to that. And if it already knows where I am, how about actually connecting to some kind of ad system and serving me with sensitive, context sensitive, and maybe my personal interest sensitive ads, which actually would result in something which I really want to buy, rather than somebody pushing me something that I really don't want to buy. So I think that's where the mobile aspects as well as the web technology aspects kind of comes together. And as we move along, I think we will see more and more things around that.
Very interesting.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with me.
Great to be here. Thanks for interviewing me.
This has been Ganesh with S60 down here at Mobile Internet World in Boston, and I'm Nicole Scott for bnetTV.com.